if they get a Stanley Cup. Now, one thing about these bonuses, Kyle, there's a couple other players who you look at and say, you know what? Makes a lot of sense that this could be the kind of blueprint that we see for them. One is Jamie Benn. Jamie Benn is 35 years old. He can sign to an over 35 deal. You could see Dallas looking at this kind of structure potentially for him. And the other is Claude Giroux in Ottawa. Same thing.
Right.
And I do think that Giroux and the Senators have been battling about the bonus structure, but Pat Brisson, who did this deal for Taves, also represents Giroux. So if it ended up being something like this, I don't think anybody would be surprised. Now, I believe that part of their pitch to Ehlers was, hey, Taves is here and he could play with you. I don't know if that's going to work. You know, I understand why everybody is skeptical. Taves hasn't played in a long time. I just think if you're committed, like one thing that Gabriel Landeskog proved to me this year is, like, first of all, there were people who thought he was never going to play again. And then, even when he came back, they were like, can he skate 2 days in a row? There were people shocked he could play back-to-back games that first weekend in the AHL. They didn't think it was possible. And then he played in the NHL and he looked pretty good. Like after Gabriel Landeskog this year, I think if you're serious and you're committed, I think it's possible. We'll see. It's different. You know, Taves had a different issue completely than Landeskog did. So you never know. Like, this is not something I think a lot of us really know about. So we're all going to learn together what the challenges are or aren't. But after watching Landeskog and the doubt I heard behind the scenes that he could be a factor, I have an open mind about this. Because if you're a committed athlete and you're an NHL player with all of the advantages you get as a pro athlete in terms of training and the facilities available to you, I think you're crazy if you write this off after what I saw of Landeskog.
Yeah, and I, like you, am a big believer, and if you can call your own shot on the way out, do all you can to do it. And Taves seems to be giving himself a terrific opportunity to do just that. So really great to see. How about this year's draft, Elliot? You know, and you and I aren't certainly the experts when it comes to who is going to be picking who, particularly at the top. So what are you hearing? As we are, we'll be 5 days out from round one in Los Angeles on Friday night. What's kind of the chatter about what the teams at the top end of the draft are thinking about how those first few picks could go?
Well, so when it comes to our place, I always defer to our top guys, right? Like I always go to Sam Cosentino, and then I go to Jason Bukala, right? Like those are the guys I always look at and say, okay, how are they feeling? I'm looking at Sam's most recent. He said he's got a 12 and then a drop off. If you read Jason's most recent article, he's got 6. Okay. They've both got Schaefer 1. And then it's interesting because Sam had Misa 2. Jason has Misa 3. Jason has Desnoyers 2. And Sam has Desnoyers 3. And now I've heard this rumor this week, and it's been written about. I'm not the only one who's heard it, that teams are beginning to wonder, could Frondell actually go second overall to San Jose? And he's a really good player. I don't think people would be shocked if it happened, but it's not something that's been predicted. And I think a bunch of people are trying to wrap around is this the everybody lies, or is San Jose really going to do this? And so, I'll say this. I know Sam believes that the playoffs and the way the playoffs are played reminded everybody of Brady Martin, and his draft stock could really rise because of it. Sam also is a big believer in Braden Coots, who he has ranked 14th because he says he's kind of like Bennett-like, right? And he thinks that teams are going to look at a guy like Bennett and like Coots for that. Anyway, I just think this is going to be a totally wild draft. I was really interested in that report the other day that Philly's thinking about Higgins at number 6 because Philly, like for Philly, like they kept the Cutter Gauthier thing secret until he got traded, right?
Mm-hmm.
Philly's thinking about Higgins. That one smelled a little bit to me. Like, it's wild. Like, Denwyer, I've heard he's rising. Brady Martin, I've heard he's rising. Roger McQueen, he was hurt a lot last year. I think there's a lot of really interesting questions about him. Like, I think, like, it just sounds like from team to team, there is so much variance. And also, I think some of these teams are willing to move around. Like last year, nobody was willing to move around. This year, they are. I always say it every year, and it's never as crazy as I hope. But I think this draft year, I hope I'm right this year. It's like the housing bubble's gonna burst. One of these years, we're gonna be right.
Yes.
I really think this one has a chance to be crazy. And this Frondell thing, number 2, like again, he's a good player. But people are trying to decide with San Jose, is this real or is this another draft smokescreen?
One thing I heard too, like you mentioned Denoye kind of rising, like if he gets into potentially 2nd or 3rd, and then there's a player available at 4 that maybe other teams didn't anticipate being there, and 4 belonging to the Utah Mammoth, who would love to do something big. Like, someone just made the point to me, like, there's the opportunity could present themselves that a team that's excited about a player there at the 4 spot offer up something for Utah to give them immediate help, and suddenly that pick becomes in play. Like, yeah, you're right.
I think
like,
there's a few teams like that. I think
Yeah.
there's a few like that.
So the way this draft is shaping up, there could be lots of opportunity to move around.
I think there's some teams here that could really set tones. I think I think Utah could. I think Chicago could. I think Philly could. I think Buffalo could because they got players people are trying to trade for.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if the Rangers try to move up. Like, that's another one I'm kind of wondering there. Darsh is a really interesting one. Like Darsh just got the job. I'm wondering if he's having trouble finding time to breathe right now because
Yeah.
there's so many rumors flying around the Islanders. You can't keep track of them all. Trying to figure out which ones are real and which ones aren't. It's like there are some teams here that could really, really set the draft on its ear.
Yeah, boy. At least when, I mean, it's Kent Hughes picked Slavkovsky first overall his first year